What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. This here's Logistical Response, and today, folks, we're going in on the mainstream narrative machine once again. I got another JD Vance interview coming up. This one's from a couple weeks ago. I just happened to miss this thing, and it's a pretty good interview, and we're going to cover it here, but we're not really going to cover the substance of what they're talking about because we've already debunked their debunk on, you know, the cats and dogs being eaten by Haitian migrants, right? We've covered that. We've seen the evidence. There is no 100% proof. We did see that video of what appears to be a cat on a grill. We know about the 911 calls, about people calling 911 and saying, hey, there's a Haitian migrant over here. He just whacked off the head of a geese and he's taking it to the house to go clean it up and eat it, right? Outright, there's nothing wrong with doing that. However, where he did it is, you know, you don't do that in a neighborhood community park. That's not the place for that, buddy. And that's the problem with these migrants. But like I said, we're not going to get into the substance of this because you and I, we already know the facts about this. We know that, yeah, it can't be proven that they're eating the dogs and they're eating the cats. Although, once again, it does appear to be a cat. We're going to go through the substance of what the corporate press narrative is, of what these people are trying to say, and they make themselves look like fools. Check this out, y'all.
Let me move to another topic. There was a lot of attention, as you know, this week on former President Trump's baseless claims about migrants eating pets in Springfield, Ohio, claims you first shared online, Senator, earlier this week. Local authorities now say there have been no credible reports of migrants hurting pets or animals. And in fact, neo-Nazis are now taking credit, frankly, for pushing these rumors mainstream. Why are you continuing to double and triple down on these baseless claims?
Well, two important points here, Kristen. First of all, I have heard firsthand from multiple constituents, people who made 911 calls a month ago, a year ago, who were making these complaints. I trust my constituents more than I do the American media that has shown no interest in what's happened in Springfield until we started sharing cat memes on the internet, which is disgraceful that the American media ignored this town. And that's the most important part. Kamala Harris's open border, Kristen, has led to skyrocketing housing costs in Springfield, rising rates of crime, rising rates of communicable diseases. They have dropped 20,000 immigrants into a town of 40,000, and it's caused a host of social problems. And we should be talking about why Kamala Harris has done this to this small town, and the media and the Democrats ignored it for an entire year. Kristen, I was talking about this on the Senate Banking Committee months ago. Nobody would pay attention to it until we started sharing the 911 calls of people in Springfield saying the migrants are eating the geese.
And yet,
I think that's really, really shameful that no one cared about it or paid attention to it.
And yet, Senator, officials, the mayor, other local officials have said there's just no evidence of what you're saying, that it's baseless, those claims. Can't you just make your argument about immigration without making those claims, Senator? Why not just make an argument about immigration? Why do you have to delve into repeating these baseless claims that, again, Senator, have been repeated by neo-Nazis?
Kristen, I hear you saying that they're baseless, but I'm not repeating them because I invented them out of thin air. I'm repeating them because my constituents are saying these things are happening. I mean,
but just
yesterday,
evidence.
A video came out of a migrant 30 miles away eating a cat. Clearly, these rumors are out there because constituents are seeing it with their own eyes, and some of them are talking about it. Now, look, we also have to talk about and should primarily talk about the effects that this has had on car insurance rates, on disease rates. Those are the things that I'm spending 95% of my time talking about, Kristen. But again, the media didn't care about this story until we started sharing the 911 call about the geese. That is an indictment of the American media. But the real problem here, Kristen, let me just finish this point, is Kamala Harris opened the border with no plan for how to assimilate 20,000 people. It's made the community worse off. That's what we should be focused on.
Senator, I have to say, though, that the mayor from Dayton in that video that you're talking about and police chief responded forcefully to that new video you just referenced. They say there's absolutely no evidence to even remotely suggest that immigrants are eating pets.
Okay, so I did an exhaustive search. I spent about 30 minutes Google searching, trying to figure out if what she is saying is true. Now, you know, when the corporate press narrative, when they come out and try to debunk something and then we show them the evidence, they're still saying, oh, well, there's no credible evidence. We asked the city manager, for crying out loud. So you asked a bureaucrat about this and he said, yeah, it's not happening. Okay, so maybe he hasn't heard that. But like I said, I did a pretty good search to try to see if what she's saying about neo-Nazis is true. Couldn't find any evidence, so I can't confirm nor deny that this happened. However, I can say I couldn't find any evidence. So this is a baseless claim by the corporate press and the mainstream news that neo-Nazis and white supremacists are taking credit for the dogs and cats garbage. It's like, hang on, so when the corporate press, when they have to come out and say that, oh, why are you still backing this up even though neo-Nazis are saying it? Right? When they have to add that extra layer of just nonsense on top of this, right? They got to throw in the white supremacists and the racism on this. You know they're losing on this one, folks. To say that there is no evidence is an outright lie. Now, if she said there's no proof of this happening, yeah, okay, then we can have a debate. We can have a debate on that. But there is evidence. We've shown the evidence. He talked about the evidence. It's there, as a matter of fact. But because it's Donald Trump, and this just gets to me like nothing else. Because it's Donald Trump, everything he says has to be a lie. They have to do everything they can to twist the words around to make Donald Trump look like a liar. Right? Because of how Donald Trump speaks, he gets himself into a lot of trouble with these people. Because he doesn't bring the evidence with him. Oh, all of a sudden it's baseless. It's like we talk about this all the time. The corporate press, they'll say something, oh, well, he said without evidence. Well, yeah, when you go do an interview, you're going to be asked some questions. You're not going to have the evidence with you, for crying out loud. It's like, that's how they manipulate you. But they're saying baseless claims. That's an outright lie. Like we covered, JD Vance says he talked to constituents. People are telling him this. More than one person is telling him this. Screw what the city manager says, right? Who trusts a bureaucrat to tell them the truth? And instead of doing the legwork, like NBC, instead of doing their job of investigative reporting, instead of going out and finding evidence for this or not finding the evidence, instead what do they do? They hear a claim, call a bureaucrat says no, then they say it's false. Knowing that there's evidence out there, they just ignore the evidence, all to bring you a narrative that Donald Trump is the evil orange man Hitler guy. That's what they're trying to do. And it's nuts to see the mental gymnastics they have to go through, right? Like, I just wonder, the people that write some of these scripts for these people, because most of that is scripted, right? Like, what are they doing here? They are geniuses to be able to twist words around and twist the facts in such a way to make it appear like they're telling you the truth, that these are baseless claims, right? JD Vance telling her that he has heard this from constituents has no effect on her whatsoever. But hang on. This is going to be great. Just check this next section out, and then we're going to rebut. Watch this.
2016, you said this, quote, Trump makes people I care about afraid, immigrants, Muslims, etc. Because of this, I find him reprehensible. God wants better of us. This week in Springfield, buildings were closed because of bomb threats. Haitian immigrants say they are afraid for their lives. Are you now doing the very thing you once called reprehensible, Senator?
Well, first of all, Kristen, we condemn all acts of violence and all threats of violence. But, Kristen, the reason that I changed my mind on Donald Trump is actually perfectly highlighted by what's going on in Springfield, because the media and the Kamala Harris campaign, they've been calling the residents of Springfield racist. They've been lying about them. They've been saying that they make up these reports of migrants eating geese, and they completely ignore the public health disaster that is unfolding in Springfield at this very minute.
Senator, what about the Haitian immigrants who say they're afraid?
Donald Trump believes, Kristen, let me finish this point, Kristen, and feel free to follow up. Donald Trump is the only person who brought Springfield to national attention, and is the only president who's going to fight for the residents, not just their right to live safely in their communities, but for their right to complain about what's going on in their own community. I think it's disgraceful that Kamala Harris has heard these complaints, has decided to call people racist instead of actually trying to make their lives better by undoing her open border. But I know you had a question.
Well, and Senator, again, because we're almost out of time, but Haitian immigrants are saying they're afraid for their lives.
So you gotta love what she's doing right here. She's trying to keep JD Vance on the back foot, and that's a masterclass in how to get away from their garbage trap, because that's all it is. Oh, you said this thing about Donald Trump back in the day, right? Like, who cares about that? Nobody gives a damn. But you notice what she did right there. Like, talking about what we was talking about earlier, JD Vance coming out and saying, my constituents are telling me this is going on. And she just completely ignores it and says, well, the city manager guy said it's not happening. However, what she's doing right here is she's saying that, oh, the Haitian migrants say they fear for their lives. So hang on. So you're going to believe these Haitian migrants and not believe JD Vance when it's the same people, like the people of the same community, put it that way, both giving evidence. So you don't care when it's American citizens saying something, but you do care when it's Haitian migrants saying it. You believe the Haitian migrants over the American citizens, all right? Like, I'm not saying which one you should believe or not believe. However, you know, the American citizens, we do at least have evidence that what they're saying is true, right? We can't prove it, but the Haitian migrants saying some weird statement about they fear for their lives. Like, huh? Fear for what? They're talking about all the bomb threats and all that garbage. Well, guess what? We just so happen to have found that all those bomb threats came from outside of the country. Now, to be fair on that, there are ways to fake where your phone number comes from. However, going to that extent to make a fake bomb threat from within the country and make it look like it came from outside of the country, yeah, that's a lot of legwork. That's a lot of legwork to do for a fake bomb threat, right? And why? You got to ask that question as well. Why do these migrants fear for their lives? That makes no sense. Like, and why would somebody fake a bomb threat to begin with? Almost makes you think like it's somebody that was paid to do this, to make a story, to make Donald Trump look bad. Now, if you think that's some wild and crazy conspiracy theory, let me point you to 2016, where the Hillary Clinton campaign made up fake evidence that took up significant federal resources because the FBI got involved in all this spying on Donald Trump's campaign, even though they knew the evidence was fake. They just wanted the impetus to go in and spy on Donald Trump. They were itching for that. So to think that somebody in the Democrat Party or somebody with the corporate press wouldn't hire somebody or get somebody or even do it themselves to make up fake bomb threat calls, to make a story out of, to drum up some press to make Donald Trump look bad is not that far-fetched, y'all. It's not that far-fetched at all. So all this garbage about what's going on in Springfield, by God, they're getting the attention they deserve. This issue is getting the attention they deserve. But you do notice they love to go in on this instead of going in on the issue. They go in on the negative stuff, right? Oh, the bomb threats, and the city manager said it's not happening. Instead of the open border policies of the Biden administration, FEMA giving money to cities and states, sanctuary cities and states, to house and feed and clothe migrants. That's what's going on. The federal government running out of money because they're taking care of people that's not even supposed to be in this country. And they're calling Donald Trump a liar for pointing all this stuff out. Because Donald Trump may say something that's not exactly right, but what he's saying is generally true, right? Because he says FEMA is giving them the money. Well, that's technically true. Now, that's not disaster relief money, but that's the manipulation the corporate press loves to pull. They'll come out and say, Donald Trump says thing, and then they'll come out and say, well, does thing happen at such and such place? Like, no, why did you add all that other stuff? That's not what Trump said. Trump said FEMA is giving migrants money for food and clothing and housing. And then they come out and say, is that true? Nope, debunked. That comes from a separate fund, so it's not happening, y'all. No, it is happening. But the way they twist the words around, they manipulate you into thinking something that's not true. This is why their ratings are failing, and this is why you should subscribe to this channel, because at least we try to sort through all the BS. And look, for anybody that's skeptical out there, look, guys, if Donald Trump gets elected and he starts pulling stuff that the Joe Biden administration pulls, I can promise you I'm going to be right here railing against Donald Trump, because I like facts. I like the truth. I don't like the garbage, right? I can go in and criticize Donald Trump for saying something that happens to not be true, which happens. Donald Trump does lie sometimes, right? But what the corporate press does is they have to twist around what Donald Trump says, then add some stuff to that Donald Trump didn't say to make Trump look like a liar. I don't like that. That's underhanded. That's dirty tactics. And if Donald Trump does it, I'm going to rail against that as well. Like, to be honest with you, there is no evidence, there's no credible reports of Haitian migrants eating dogs. None whatsoever. But he didn't say just dogs, right? So it's half true. It's cats. There's evidence of a cat on a barbecue pit. Yes, we saw the video. So, that being said, it's really hard to filter through the nonsense. This is why the corporate press and their ratings are failing so bad, because fake news is out there, y'all. And it's just terrible when the people that are supposed to be the fact bringers, right? They're supposed to be the ones giving you the news, telling you what's happening in the world, have to manipulate you and lie to you to get their point across. What does that tell you? These people are activists. They're not journalists, y'all. They are not fact bringers. They are narrative sowers. That's what they do. And once again, you got to cut the threads of their narrative to open it up and see what's really going on. And it's a shame that somebody like me, that this channel has to exist, because that's what I do here. By the way, hit that like button for me if you don't mind. I know it's almost the end of the video, but you know, yeah, I got to get it in there at some point, so might as well do it now. Smash that like button for me if you guys don't mind. I sure would appreciate it. And if you're new around here, hit that subscribe button. It's the only way to stay up to date and stay informed with all the lies of the corporate press. But I think I've made my point clear, y'all. Y'all let me know what y'all think about all this down in the comment section. That's all I got for this one. I want to thank everybody for watching. And y'all try to have a good day and stay legitical. Peace.